Happy Halloween! Are we gonna be releasing this on Halloween, right?
I think so. I was about to ask that question. Like, are we doing this on Halloween? I think it's still fitting anyway. Cause
We're
it's like
now
October.
doing this on Halloween because I already said Happy Halloween!
Okay. So before we forget, welcome to Creepy Conversations with Kalai and Gabby, guys. We are gonna be talking about Aswang today. There's not much prelude for the episode. I feel like we've been talking for hours.
We were recording our goat stories.
Goats.
Small episode.
Small episodes. Let's call it that because it sounds dumb. Small episodes.
Yeah, we were recording it right before we started recording this episode. This is a main episode. This isn't a small episode. And we're going to be... Biggie-sode. In reference to Notorious B.I.G., we have Smalls and Biggies.
Biggies, yep. Oh my god, I love them. I've been listening to 90s hip-hop music lately.
Ooh, I've been listening to a lot of 90s music as well. Not 90s hip-hop.
Mine is like very specific, kind of like the white goat cheese.
Right before we started recording, we were talking about cheese.
And apparently there's white goat cheese. Yeah, can somebody please confirm if there's literally blue goat cheese? It's so specific. I will Google it.
I've tried goat cheese, and they call it white goat cheese.
Okay, there is blue goat cheese. So it makes sense now, to me, at least, why there's like white goat cheese.
How did we... We were talking about 90s music, now we're talking about cheese again.
I know. And every time we start talking about it, it's like, how did we get here?
I can't understand you clearly because you keep on getting...
cut off?
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Craig, you're fired. What is happening?
Yes, it wasn't me that's complaining about Craig anymore.
I've been a bitch to Craig.
I said, like, every time we get to the point where we start talking about cheese, we wonder why.
Yeah.
Because honestly, how do we get there? What did we talk about?
Today?
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about the very... That was really bad.
Did you really have to say it that way?
I wanted to say it like the very infamous Aswang. I don't
Like
know.
the very. What was that? Oh my god. I am still so hungry. In the Smalley
What
show,
do you eat?
I don't know. I will. You should start talking. Oh my god. My housemates are gonna find me so weird because I'm speaking in English and bringing my phone and power bank to the kitchen. But yeah, I'll be making dinner while we do this.
Can we call our episodes the Biggie and the Smalls episode?
Yes, I approve. I think I'm just gonna have cup noodles. So I'm heating. No, I'm not heating up. Did you hear that? I'm putting water in the percolator. And I'm heating up I'm boiling water for my noodles. Hope this is enough food because I'm so fucking hungry.
Guys, this is our Halloween episode and it's Gabby. She's just gonna be cooking. It's gonna be an ASMR episode. Sit back.
Because we're gonna start whispering now. Joke kidding.
It's the whisper episode.
I think I'm missing something. This cup noodles is missing the oil. I don't know if I'm doing this right. This is kind of like my dinner, lunch. Oh my god, have I told you that there's this new Indian restaurant that opened literally right across my apartment? And it's open for 24 hours. And that's like not normal for here because nothing is ever 24/7. So if I do get hungry later on, I might have some Indian food. Not Indian. Indian food. Do you want to start or do we want to keep talking about my eating habits?
This is an ASM. Oh, sorry for that noise. That's those obnoxiously loud motorcycles here in the Philippines. So that just passed by. So anyway, so we're going to be talking about
we keep saying that, but we never do.
And it's a drinking challenge. Did you felt that, right?
Felt
like
what?
the people just
leaving.
We just lost listeners. Welcome back! And so I'm just gonna get right into it. Oh yeah, by the way, most of our information, not all but most of it, we got it on Aswang Project and the Spirits of the Archipelago. They have a Facebook page, but they also have their own website.
You
I'll
guys
be
should
posting
support them. They're great.
Yep, I'll be posting their links on creepyconvos.tumblr.com, and hopefully you'll bookmark them and visit their sites every day so that their site be up forever. And we're not getting paid for this. So, where should I start? Oh yeah, so let's start with the first sighting. The Aswang was first sighted during the 1950s, but I'm not sure if that's the official first sighting. I think it's just the first.
Stop. Are we gonna go with the first sighting, or are we gonna describe it first?
The Aswang.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll describe it right after this.
Okay. I'm sorry. We don't plan these things, so we don't know what's going on like 90% of the time.
We're just winging it. So yeah, it was first, I think this is the first documented sighting of it since, the colonizers arrived in the 1530s. So I think that's why the first documented sighting was like in the 1500s. And particularly we had this one colonizer who was a priest that said, and he stated in his journals that the locals highly feared the Aswang. So we've been afraid of this creature
Forever.
ever since. Yeah, I think our ancestors passed the stories from generation to generation. There are several kinds of Aswang, by the way. It's understandable why we're so scared of it because of the description of what the Aswangs look like. The Aswangs so how do you spot an Aswang? So they're typically female. In daylight, you can hardly spot them because they're daywalkers like Blade, so they can blend in the human society just like normal people. The sunlight can't harm them. The only way to tell is that their philtrum, this sort of valley in between your nose and your mouth. That's what you call a philtrum. So the Aswangs, that's hardly visible. If it's not there, then that person's an Aswang.
Oh my god, I don't want to have a question. That's the case.
What does it look like though?
Is that?
If they do.
I don't know. Filter. How do you spell that?
BHL. What? BHILTRUM.
Oh my god, I'm so dumb. I just went straight up F. I'm sorry.
It might be F. I don't know.
No, you got it right.
Now I'm questioning myself. You know those things where you're super sure, and then when someone asks you, you're like, wait, fuck, I don't know.
It reminds me of the time when we told Carla that butter is a carb.
Oh yeah, the mean girl thing. And then he was like, she.
She believed us.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the Aswang. What is happening? I sound like a morning talk show host. So I mentioned that they're really scary. In their true form, they have really long claws and they also have wings, bat-like wings. But it's not small like a bat. It's like a bat in the sense that it has cartilage and it's webbed. You know how the bat wings looks like it's webbed?
Mm-hmm.
And that veiny. And they have long fangs as well. And they can also transform into any animal, but usually they transform into a dog or a pig. I think it makes sense because we have a lot of farms here in the Philippines.
Yeah, those are pretty common.
Yeah, we have a lot of stray dogs, so they can fit right in. But in their animal form, you can tell that it's an Aswang because it's bigger and it's a bit deformed. And if you kill it in its animal form, Aswangs don't usually turn back into their human form. Because you know how in the movies when you kill a vampire or a werewolf, when you kill a werewolf, they turn back into human once you kill them.
Mm-hmm.
The Aswangs just stay that way. And they just stay as an animal. But you have to remember that they're tricksters. You might think that it's dead, but it can heal. And also...
It's a fucking Wolverine.
Yeah, kind of. Also, they're very quiet and they're very fast when they're in their human form. So they can sneak into your house and stuff like that. And the fucked up thing about Aswangs is that they prey on pregnant women, fetuses, and newborn children. Because they love...
Are they like vampires wherein you have to invite them in or else they won't be able to get inside, or they're just rude?
They actually you don't need to invite them inside because they have long tongues that can sneak into like holes in your house so that they can attack you with that long tongue. So usually how they attack, they usually do it at night. Everyone's asleep, especially if the pregnant woman's asleep. They crawl through the roof. Their tongue would like slither in. Sounds
That's
so
so
wrong.
nasty.
But they have a really, really long tongue that has like a tubular tongue on which they use to suck if you're pregnant, they're gonna suck the baby from your belly button.
Are
And
you sure, or probably elsewhere?
from the belly button. Gabby!
I'm sorry.
It's from the belly button, and their tongues they have sharp tongues so that it can pierce through the belly button and suck the baby through the tubular. It turns into like this tubular thing. Like in mosquitoes, shit, what do you call that? Mosquitoes.
Is that a mouth?
Is it a mouth? It looks like a mouth in the cartoons. It's a mouth.
Would you
I'm
call
like referencing. Sorry.
Would you call it proboscis?
Yeah, that's it.
That's what you call it. Proboscis.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right.
I think that's the correct one.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, let's go with that.
If we're wrong, they're gonna tell us.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they're also known as viscera suckers. So they like to eat the insides, like the heart, the kidneys, the fetuses.
Is that even still considered like a viscera? It's literally a baby.
Yeah, the baby that's still not born. But they also eat newborns.
Yeah.
Anyway, like humans, when they're in their human form, they have emotions and feelings, and they're pretty loyal, actually. They won't harm their friends and their neighbors, and they will only hunt in places that's far from their own neighborhood. Also, one thing, the reason why they hunt at night is because whatever deity or whatever god they believe in, they believe that it sleeps at night. So that's why they go out and attack during the night. And it's easier because everyone's asleep at night.
Why do I feel like I've already heard this stuff before?
Because we've done an episode on this and we decided not to post it. You remember?
Yeah, because I feel like, why does this feel like a deja vu? We actually did. Okay.
Surprise.
Sorry. Keep going.
And they can't be on holy ground like churches and churches.
Would you consider cemeteries as holy grounds?
Probably not.
Okay.
And also, if they can attend mass, they leave during consecration.
What is that again?
That's the part, if you're not Catholic, there's a part where the priest raises the host and the wine.
Okay.
And then the altar boys will ring bells. And then people will like bow their heads.
Yep.
It's kind of like the scene in Simba and Lion King where Rafiki raises Simba and everyone else bows their head. It's kind of like that, but in church. But so they say that Aswangs are afraid they get affected. So whenever it's consecration and you see someone leaving, for sure that person's an Aswang.
Maybe I should do that one time. I've never been to...
And people would be like, oh shit.
Yep. I was going to say, I've never been to church for years, but I have actually been to church this year because my aunt made me.
Ooh, I don't think I've been to church this year.
I don't think I'll ever go to church unless someone drags me there.
You hear that, Gab?
So
those are our Christian listeners.
Leaving. God.
Bye. Also, there are different kinds of aswangs. Shit, I lost my note.
I'm still chewing
Here we
my
go.
noodle.
So there are different kinds of aswangs, several kinds all over the Philippines. An example of that, do you guys remember in our first episode, in Creepy Conversations, episode 1, we talked about the ungo? The third kind of ungo, who's the grave robber, that's a kind of aswang as well. We also have the manananggals, the abat, the bangkilan from Palawan, and other kinds of creatures. Mostly vampire-like creatures are considered as aswang in our country. And they're even like evil spirits in general. We even call them aswang even though they're not vampire-like. But in general, there's one one thing in common for Aswangs. They're usually the kind of creature that's up to no good or evil, which is interesting because I researched on the background because I also watched this really great documentary about the Aswang by the Aswang Project, which you can find on Facebook. It's called The Aswang Phenomenon. It's a full documentary that you can find on Facebook. It's interesting that we associate the Aswang with evil because the very first time that the word Aswang was used was in Bicol. Bicol is a province in the Philippines, and they have a folklore there which they have an evil god called the Aswang. And our researchers believe that this is the first time the term and the name Aswang has been used. So generally in our country, if it's something evil, it's an evil, like, not evil like, if it's an evil creature, we would call it an Aswang. Yep, also.
It's basically like a monster.
Yeah. There's other creatures in other countries as well that kind of resembles the Aswang, but mostly it's like the manananggal.
How so? Oh my god, this is so difficult.
Gab.
This is so difficult. Gosh, I have like full mouth, my mouth full with noodles. Oh
Were
my
you
god,
saying
sorry.
something?
I can't even remember. I'm still struggling with the amount of noodles I've put inside my mouth. Oh my god.
Anyway, so there's this creature in Indonesia. I forgot the name. I wrote it down, but I can't find it.
Penanggal.
Penanggal. The Penanggal, which is like the Manananggal, which is a kind of Aswang. So yeah, which makes sense because we came from the Malay race. Right?
Wait,
Yeah.
that's so funny. You just
What?
said like we came from the Malays, but then you're referring to an Indonesian creature.
Oh, fuck. No, but their ancestors are from the Malay race, too. See?
Nice
Still
save.
makes sense. And then someone's like gonna tweet, dude, you're full of shit.
It's like, yep.
I mean,
Tell
we
us
know.
something we don't know.
Tell us something we don't know, which is the history
Yeah.
of Indonesia. Anyway, the most important thing that you should know about the Aswang is that it has a black chick living inside the stomach of the Aswang. Black chick, like literally
Not a black woman.
the offspring of a chicken. A chick.
It's probably balot.
No, it's like a for real chick. They say that the black chick is the physical form of darkness or evilness, or they even say that it's the physical form of the curse. And then if an Aswang is dying, they vomit out that chick and then pass it down to their successor on their deathbed. Most of the time, it is forced down the throat of an unwilling successor.
That is a very
And,
appetizing imagery while I'm having my dinner.
Can you imagine like the black chick all slimy and
Being
shit?
forced down the throat.
And then shoved down. Yeah, and they also say that the transformation to like becoming an Aswang is extremely painful, but they need it to like satisfy their needs. I mean, could you imagine if like an Aswang is listening to us right now, and then they see their grandma dying, and they know that they're gonna be the successor.
Run, bitch, run.
And they'd be like, Mom, what?
Like,
Sorry.
run, bitch, run.
Yeah, they'd be like, Mom, I was listening to the creepy conversations the other day, and I don't think I want to
and
be
I'm
an
like,
Aswang.
decided not to be one of you guys.
I mean, but also, if you come from a family of Aswangs, you won't have transformation abilities if the black chick isn't going to be passed down to you, but you will still have unexplainable blood loss. What? Blood loss. Blood loss. Could you
It's like,
imagine
I'm
that?
losing blood every day. I don't know why.
Shit. Anyway, could you imagine if an Aswang was actually listening to us? They'd be like, fuck these bitches. They're like laughing at our shit,
Tweet
man.
us. Let us know how you feel.
Just tweet us. Don't.
Visit.
Yep. I mean, I'm okay if you want to be friends, because I heard that you guys are loyal. But like,
Cool. We're cool.
you know, let's be cool.
Cool.
We're cool. No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So what are the countermeasures against an aswang? So if you're vegan and meat is murder and you don't want to kill this creature, wear a garlic necklace. It's a great way to ward off aswangs and a great way to ward off regular people as well. If you wear a garlic necklace and somebody still gives you the look,
I was about
that's
to say
the
that.
one, man. Put a ring on it. Put a ring on it. Also, the smoke from burning garlic or carabao shavings will also
What?
ward them off. But I mean, could you imagine?
I
What?
thought
Sorry?
you were about to say like carabao shit.
Carabao shavings. Carabao horn shavings.
How? Oh fuck, man! When you said like carabao shavings, I was like thinking hair. I was like,
No, the
okay.
horn.
Oh, by the way, carabaos are water
Could you imagine?
buffaloes.
Yep. Yes. Could you imagine like wrestling a water buffalo just to ward off? Dude, buy fucking
the
garlic,
easiest
man.
thing.
Don't need to wrestle
What the
a carabao. How did this person discover that you can ward off aswangs with carabao shavings?
What
I'm
is
curious
that anyway?
what his process.
What is that anyway? He's probably had a cheese grater or something. What do you do?
How do you what is the thought process of like burning the carabao horn shavings and just like, dude, the swan just left. It fucking works.
What
was his process? I don't know why I'm thinking about this. But also, the easiest and the cheapest salt can also wound them. It won't necessarily kill them, but it can wound them. So if like an aswang is near you, just throw some salt at that bitch.
Oh my god, there's
And
snails.
also-
There's snails.
Sorry? Cute. Also, they're said to be afraid of the sound of the whip. So if you're into like kinky dominatrix, girl, you're lucky. And oh shit, they're also sensitive to curse words. So if you love talking dirty, this shit is up your alley, man.
Protect yourself.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh shit, I just said, could you imagine if you're pregnant and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you see the aswang's tongue dangling towards your pregnant belly and you start cursing at it like, fuck you, fucking leave me alone. And then the aswang would be like, man, you can just ask nicely. You don't have to curse at me. You guys don't understand. I don't eat regular human food.
Stop hurting my feelings.
Yeah. And also, I'm just trying to help you out, man. I don't think you can raise that child. It's 2018. Inflation is up by 6%. And there's fucking train law as well. Can you afford another child?
Or you can teach your children to cuss at an early stage to protect them. You're so mean. We're so bad.
Why are we... Anyway... So, and how to kill an aswang? How do you kill an aswang,
I think you just stab it.
No, if you stab it, you're just gonna wound it. So the greatest way to kill an aswang is to hit it with a whip using
tail of a stingray.
A tail of a stingray, which is still bad because you have to kill a stingray to get its tail. So
it's a choice you have to make. It's a choice.
You have to harm a stingray in order to harm. It's a lot of, are you really that selfish?
I think you should just give yourself up. We can reproduce faster, I think, than the stingray. So just, leave them.
Give yourself up.
It's like, be selfless, man.
Yeah, and aswangs are probably endangered.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Think about not yourself.
That, you only think of yourself, that's why.
God damn it! Anyway, another way to kill an aswang. Oh, by the way, if you're an aswang and you're listening, no hard feelings, man.
We're all for you. We're trying to protect you.
We're trying to protect you. So you'll know what ways the humans, ways they can try to kill you. So you watch out. Watch your back. We got you. And another way of killing an aswang is to open the aswang's stomach or cut them in half ninja style. So you'll cut the chick in half, or if you cut them in half, the chick will fall off. Get the chick and burn that motherfucker.
Wait, which part would you find the chick? Like exactly?
From the head down to there. Like cut them in half like ninja style.
What is ninja style?
Gabby, keep on.
I know. Yep.
I can't hear
What
you.
is ninja style?
Like in Kill Bill, how they cut you, like they cut you from the head down to your body. I don't know how to
Down to your
describe it.
private areas.
Yep, down to your private part. So unless if you have like a really strong knife, just cut the aswang's stomach instead. And also bamboo spears, or what we call bolo, can kill it as well. Another way to get rid of an aswang is hang. If ever you catch an aswang, hang the aswang by its feet and then light a pile of straw with garlic beneath it so that it'll nauseate the aswang and then vomit the chick out.
What? You know what?
And that's it. That's how.
I feel like
what?
our childhood, what do you call it, punishments were our parents trying or like pretending we were aswang. I remember my dad say that he tried being smoked up a tree.
Yeah.
And guys, this is pretty normal for Filipinos. This is not abuse.
True.
This is not considered.
That's a regular punishment. This is why we're all kind of fucked up in our head. And again, mental health awareness, you guys. Oh, also, there's a theory that the aswangs could be, because there's a city here in the Philippines called Capiz, which is in Visayas, where they say it's the capital city for a lot of aswangs live there. I don't even know how to talk anymore. What's wrong with me? So yeah, the theory is that the reason why they think that a lot of aswangs live there is because there's actually a genetic disease called the X-linked dystonia Parkinsonism, Jesus, or the dystonia of Panay, which, gives you the aswang look where you don't have a philtrum. So, and that's a hereditary.
That's why they say it's like when you're an aswang, it's also an hereditary thing. Oh, idiots, man. This is what happens when you don't understand something. You're just like trying to make it more sensible for you, so you make shit up.
Yeah. But what if whoever was the doctor who was like, you know what, this is a genetic disorder. What if he or she is an aswang and was just like trying to protect his famo?
Not bad.
From the witch hunt.
I mean,
yeah, right?
We
Smart
must
dude.
do what we have to do. Protect yourself, people. Wait.
And I think it's tea time,
but
Gab.
the biscuits is stuck on my teeth.
She's still eating.
It's been 30 minutes now, probably 40, and I've been eating my way through. I feel like I'm gonna get indigestion after this podcast, but whatever. Worth it.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, since you keep on saying, what if an aswang is listening to? If you are an aswang and you're listening to us, let us know, man, what it's like. If we have wrong info on how to kill you, let us know.
How to kill you.
You know?
Teach us how to kill you.
And how to kill you so that you can tell your fellow aswangs what to avoid. Is it really true that you're sensitive when it comes to curse words? Or,
it's just bullshit.
Let us know. And if you're a writer that's listening to it, dude, give us something good about, give us something good. Write shit about aswang. Oh shit, speaking of aswangs, there's actually, there's a couple of movies. You can find a lot of aswang in popular culture. There's a movie back in 1992 here in the Philippines entitled Aswang. There's also an international movie,
which is
excuse me, called The Aswang back in 1994. And there's also an episode in Grimm, and their main villain was an aswang. So I streamed the episode. It's pretty good. Their aswang looks pretty scary. We don't have nice looking creatures here. I'm sorry to the aswang listening. You look fucked up when you turn into
a good kind of
aswang.
Fucked up. Pretty cool.
Good for you. Yeah, you're fucking metal. Keep that shit.
Okay. I think I'm ready for tea time now, but I can feel a burp coming on, so...
This is just another disgusting
it's always
episode.
a disgusting episode with us.
Disgusting conversations with
Wow,
Gabby.
just me, okay? You burp a lot too, I just cut it out.
It's all the inhaling.
And this was from the food. Oh my god, I really feel like it's coming out. Okay, that came out. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, this is a series of burps, and it hurts so much because I ate excuse me, I ate spicy curry noodles, and it's I feel the spice of the curry coming out Ew. You guys didn't need to know that.
I want to eat samyang.
Should we just turn this into an ASMR podcast instead? It's like, listen to us chew.
Let's just talk about food.
Anyway, my story has something to do with. So you mentioned cappies, right? I found this in Inquirer newspaper, and it was written by a journalist. What's her name? Ambeth Ocampo.
What's her
And she was looking through some files on politics and stuff, and she came across a book entitled "In the Midst of Wars: An American Mission to Southeast Asia" by Edward Geary Lansdale. So he's a guy from New York, and he published this book in 1972. He was a pilot, I believe, but I'm not sure about that, but I do know that he was a CIA agent, and this was during World War II. The Americans were in Philippines, and they were brought to help fight off the Hukbalahap. So just to give a bit of context, this is a communist guerrilla movement that was formed by peasant farmers in central Luzon, and they were supposed to fight off the Japanese in the country. And eventually it evolved into a movement against the Philippine government. So,
hashtag history.
No, and the cool thing about this is they used our concept of, or like our fear against Aswangs as a tactic for Saiwar. And I think it's like pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this guy who wrote the book actually, was one of the soldiers that helped fight off the Hukbalahap. I have here an excerpt from the book, which I will read. So, to the superstitious, the Huk, shorter term for Hukbalahap is like Huk. The Huk battleground was a haunted place filled with ghosts and eerie creatures. Some of its aura of mystery was imparted to me on my own visits there. So the setting is like Capiz, and there's like, it's during this time it's like mountainous, and imagine like countryside province. Yeah, so like goosebumps rose in my arms on moonless night in Huk territory as I listened to the haunting minor notes of trumpet playing Pampangenia diriges in the barrios, or to the mournful singing of men and women as they walk from house to house on All Saints' Night, telling of lost and hungry souls. Even Ramon Magsaysay believed in the apparition of a kapre. One Saiwar operation played upon the popular dread of an aswang to solve a difficult problem. Local politicians opposed of Magsaysay's plan of moving more troops out of defensive garrisons to form further mobile and aggressive battalion combat teams. And in one town, the local bigwigs pointed out that a Huk squadron was based on a hill near town. If the troops left, they were sure the Huks would swoop down on the town and the bigwigs would be the victims. Only if the Huk squadron left the vicinity would they agree to the removal of guarding troops. The problem, therefore, was the Huk had to move. The local troops had not been able to do this. A combat Saiwar squad was brought in, planted stories among town residents of an aswang living in the hill where the Huks were based. I know.
Oh.
And it's like they would actually believe this because they were farmers, and I feel like it's usually those kinds of people who like dwell. It's like,
what kind of people have? No, I'm just kidding.
Farmers. That's what I said. Farmers. I hate you. Stop getting me into trouble. God. I don't mean anything bad by it. I don't know how to explain. I'm getting defensive. Whatever. I am not in the wrong here. Damn it.
Please continue.
So, the combat Saiwar squad planted the stories among town residents of an aswang living on the hill up where the Huks were based. 2 nights later, after giving the stories time to circulate among the Huk sympathizers in the town, they made their way up the hill. The Saiwar squad sent an ambush along a trail used by the Huk. When the Huk patrol came along the trail, the ambushers silently snatched the last man. Where am I? Of the patrol. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on. It's pretty hard. I swear, I'm almost done. So they snatched the last man of the patrol, and they were unseen because it was like dark. They punctured the neck with 2 holes, vampire fashion, held the body up by the heels, and drained it of its blood. So the thing with these things are, it's like they put in a Western twist to it, but people would still believe it because you're not really sure how these things go. Because our mythology is also kind of like urban legend. So anything like if you don't understand it and it's crazy, it is an aswang. So yeah, they drained the they hung it upside down and they drained the blood and put the corpse back on the trail. So when the hook returned,
why am I laughing at this?
It's so brilliant, bruh. I mean, I'm not all for.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not into violence, but this is pretty smart. So when the hooks returned to look for their missing man, they found the body of their bloodless comrade, and every member of the patrol believed that the aswang had got to him and that one of them would be next if they remained on the hill. So when daytime came, the whole Hook squadron moved out of the vicinity. Another day passed before the local people were convinced that they were really gone, and Magsaysay moved the troops who were guarding the town into the battalion combat teams. And yeah, that's it. They won that battle because
it's pretty interesting. It's like telling of the Filipino culture, of how much we forget that the aswang is actually a mythological creature because of how much
like even grown people,
I don't know,
believe it.
Yeah, like how much fear it was instilled in us that the aswangs are these creatures that will kill us. And there's like, you can see in the news, right? Like back in that was in 2010, I think, where there was like a whole neighborhood where they gathered, like all the young boys and all the grown men like gathered, and they were like bringing their flashlights, and they were bringing they made this like customized this like 4x4 plywood, and they put nails on it so that they can use it as a weapon if they were gonna find the aswang. And this was like 2010, man. That was like 6 years ago, right? Nope. 8 years ago. This is how I am not in tune with reality. I still feel like it's 2016.
That was like the easiest math you can do, and you still went for 6. Okay.
But yeah, 2010 is like already the age of like social media, and people still believe in
ghosts and creatures. Yeah.
in aswang. Yeah, in a mythological creature. But it's cool though, like
it's crazy.
We have this crazy too.
Because like our creatures in general have always been part of our politics and history. And it's usually being used for propaganda. So like the Ongo and the Aswang has been used by the Spanish to take advantage of us. The Manananggal also came out in 1992 during the presidential election, and I think that has like some political agenda in it, and we're just like, they wanted to steer people away from what was really going on, so they went on with headlines that ran towards that. And now this, during the World War II. And which is crazy because it works.
Yeah. I think that's why like we don't take it seriously. We're afraid of it, but at the same time we don't take the aswangs seriously as a mythological creature, because I think this was like a story that was passed on from our ancestors, and how we were conditioned back in the Spanish era, where if we like had traces of being a Filipino, it was looked down upon at that time. So I think that's why we started telling the stories in hushed tones, and we didn't really look at the aswang or value the aswang as a like badass motherfucking creature. We don't talk about it in school anymore because we find it silly. We laugh at people like the one when the news came out that there was this town that was like hunting for the aswang. People were like, that's crazy. That was the reaction of the city people. But when you think about it, it's still our creature. We should value it. I mean, it's not like I'm not saying that we should believe in it, but we should value it and not like make it like a child's story.
At least like respect.
Like a child.
It's weird actually because in school we get to learn about Roman and Greek mythology. Like it's really part of our literature classes, but like we don't talk about our own mythology.
And to think we have like really, really badass creatures. Like our creatures can. I keep on saying this because I believe in it so much. Like, I feel like our creatures, our mythological creatures, can kick every single ass other mythological creatures because it's just that way. And we have gay gods.
Do.
What's better than a gay god?
Yep.
You know what I mean?
It's I think this stems from our religion before, because I do remember we have our priestess, the shamans, we call the babaylans. Am I saying that right? Anyway, so they're either women or gay men. Like, you can't, if you're like regular guy, sorry, you can't be a fucking priest because you're not cool enough, you're not sassy. No, I'm just kidding.
Our god of death is gay.
Yeah, that's so cool, and it's crazy. Like,
what
people now are
us?
like, oh, you can't be gay because that's wrong. It's like, what? Where is this coming from?
Bitch.
I think
I
think straight people should stop procreating if they want to stop people from being gay, because if like a gay person and a gay person get together, they can't really physically create their own child. So it's impossible for them to create more gay people because it's usually their problem, right? Like, we don't want more gay people in the world, but guess what? Gay people come from straight people, so y'all better stop giving birth.
Yeah, true. And I mean, what's wrong with it anyway? It's fun to be
I am secretly dragged.
Oh, I have. I have a story. I have a it's sort of a tea time story. This is exactly how an aswang will attack you. So let me just pull up my notes. Hang on. Damn it.
Oh my god, I'm gonna burp.
Where is it?
Excuse me. Did you hear that? Yeah.
Yeah. This is like a typical way of how an aswang works his way, right? No,
I'm not
don't
sure.
know
It's
yet.
like, what? What are we talking about?
So, this story is about a couple, two young couples, and let me wait. Sorry, I can't see my notes.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
I can hear,
I'm flipping.
actually. Oh my god, I'm having like a stomachache. Okay.
All right. So this is this story. I'll post you the screenshot. Because this was sent to me by my office mate. He sent a screenshot, and I can't find the original post of it because he just sent the screenshot. So I'm just gonna post the screenshot on our Tumblr page. I'm gonna keep on talking. Anyway, so this is a story about two young couples, John and Irish. So Irish was 6 months pregnant when they found out that John's parents passed away. So they had to go to their house in the province to since no one was living with their parents anymore, they had to with John's parents, they had to keep his parents' belongings to sell it. So they went back home to his province, it didn't really specify which province it is, but it just said province. So let's just imagine a regular Filipino province. So they went back to the province and they had to stay there. When John saw his old house, he realized that they can't just, stay there overnight and sell the things like overnight because there were so many things there. He was happy because he found like his old childhood toys and stuff like that he wanted to pass on to his baby. But at the same time, he realized on the first night that they stayed that it was a bad decision to come back to the province. So John's house was a bit far from his neighbors. Let me just give a quick background on what Filipino neighborhoods look like. If you live in the province, most likely your next neighbor will be like a couple of meters away from you, and you'll be surrounded by a couple of coconuts and shit like that. So this is what John's house looked like. He was surrounded by trees, and right behind his house was like not really wilderness, but it was just like just trees like that. Behind him was like a mountain already. Not directly behind him. Why am I still talking? So yeah, on their first night, John started flapping sounds. So the flapping sounds sounded like it wasn't near, but he could feel that there was something near their house. And the flapping sound sounded like it was circling their house. So he really didn't mind it at first because, it's their first night and he was still feeling sad from his parents like passing away. And at the same time, he was like back to his childhood self from seeing all of these toys and stuff that he used to play with, that he didn't know that his parents kept. So there was a lot going on with him, so he didn't really mind, but he didn't feel good. And then, so the next night came, he heard the same thing, but this time there was like a sound, like a kik sound, but it sounded, at first he was afraid because it sounded near. And then eventually he started relaxing because it started to sound
not
far.
A good sign.
Yeah. The next day, there was this, their neighbor came by, brought him like buko juice and was like, oh, how's it going? And this and that. And then their neighbor said, it's kind of fucked up because it's been a long time since we had somebody pregnant here. And I just want to give you a word of caution because we started hearing things last night that you should watch out for. And John was like, what were these sounds? And he was like, they're flapping sounds, like wings flapping. And he was like, yeah, I heard that too, but there are like lots of bats here and birds here. And he's like, no. This was different. It was heavier. And one thing that you should know, that there are creatures here that aren't friendly and that might want to attack your wife. And John was like, what the no, that wasn't what he said, but he was like, what do you mean by that? And so his neighbor didn't really want to scare him, but he said, just watch out. And if I were you, I'd go to the market right now and buy garlic and salt and make sure that your wife is always, that she's always carrying garlic and salt with her. So John did that thing. That night he told Irish, okay, here, I need you to always have garlic with you and always have salt with you. And his wife, growing up in the city, was like, dude, like, don't be silly, man. Like, you're scaring me, but I don't believe you. I don't think this is necessary. But John was like, just believe me. please. So that night came, they heard the same sound again, but this time it sounded far. So John was like, oh, this is okay because it sounded far. But then he started hearing footsteps on his roof. So John was like, at first he just tried to tell himself that maybe this is just a cat, or, you know, maybe this is just something else.
Cat, what do you call those? Prints would
But then
sound
he realized,
different.
yeah, and he realized that he's never seen a cat around his neighborhood. So he stood up and was like, what the fuck is this? So he went out. Before he went out, he woke up Irish and said, where's your garlic? Hold it close with you, and then hold this clump of salt with you. Watch out, I'm gonna be going out. So John went out. He didn't really bring anything because he didn't know what he was gonna expect, but he was just bringing a clove of garlic. And then he saw something huge fly away from his roof. And he was like, I swear to God, that looked like a human being. But he was just like, maybe I'm just sleepless. Maybe I'm just going through something. It can't be what it is, what I think it is. So since he saw the thing fly away, he went back to his wife, and they tried to sleep that night. The next day, he went to his neighbor and asked, he said, what kind of noises did you hear aside from this flapping sound? And then that's when his neighbor was like, okay, I think I really need to help you now. I think there was an aswang in the area last night, and I think it's trying to eat your child. And one thing that you should know, that if an aswang is near, the sound that you hear, it sounds like they're far away. And John just had like goosebumps all over his body, because he tried to sleep when he heard the sound, when he thought that the sound was far away.
Oh shit.
So yeah. And then that night he prepared some shit. He was like, he had a knife beside his bed, on his table beside his bed. But his wife started to get angry, and his wife was like, what the hell is happening to you? This is the province getting into your head. You're starting to listen to your neighbors. They're just trying to scare us because they want this house. Maybe they want to live here. Maybe they want to buy everything. Maybe they don't want us here. Maybe we should just go home. And John was like, we can't go home tonight.
It's like,
because it's not safe. So they were like, okay, we're gonna sleep, and then tomorrow we're gonna go home, just whatever we can bring, and we're just gonna sell everything as cheap as we can, just so we can get out of here. And then they made the biggest mistake of sleeping that night, because that night John heard the noises again, but this time the kikik sound was really loud. So he was like, okay, so he said that it was it's loud near if it's loud. But then within a couple of seconds, it started to sound really far.
Oh shit.
And the next thing they know, they see this thing from their ceiling. At first he thought it was a snake, but then he realized that it wasn't really a snake because the tip was sharp.
What?
And his wife saw everything, and his wife screamed, and the tongue was started to face his wife and was starting to move fast. And then his wife, like, you know how city girls are, his wife started to curse. And then the tongue went back up in the ceiling, and then they heard like flapping sounds. And then John was like, you know what?
We're leaving.
Fuck this shit. Yeah. We're gonna go home first thing tomorrow. And then when they packed their bags, they sold everything as cheap as they can. And then when they were on their way back out of the province, they always have to pass by this certain corner. Then they saw this female who stood by the car, on his wife's side, and then she
Oh
leaned
my god,
and
that's so
smiled.
creepy. She is probably the thing.
And that's it.
Ah!
That's the story.
Oh my god. And you know what? I'm more scared of the fact that she actually leaned on the, like near the wife's side and then smiled than the part where
Yeah,
she.
it's like
Yeah.
she knew.
I'm more scared of that than the part where it actually got into the house, like the snake-like tongue thing.
Yeah, me too.
So annoying.
And when I heard that, I was like, was that
I
necessary?
know. Like, do not just like. Could you have just left that part out and then moved on? Oh my god. Yep.
Yeah, you got cut off.
We should really find a way. We should. How does that even work? How do we get better connection? Everything is dependent on internet. Why?
How do we get better connection?
Oh my gosh.
The answer is me moving out of the Philippines.
We should.
Because our connection just sucks.
No, I'm just kidding. Oh my god. Do you think, like, I've never heard those kinds of stories anymore back home? We rarely talk about those things anymore.
I think I used to listen to, like, Our Helper, but I can't remember the stories that she would
It's like,
tell
I
us
was such
before.
a kid that time, I didn't care. Oh my
Gabby,
god.
you still
It's that-
there?
yeah.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Oh, nothing. I just, like, said it's because we were such kids we didn't care. It's like, yeah, I'll keep that in my childhood memories and then delete them. You know, I think this is like Craig trying to cut us off. It's like, done, you guys are done, stop recording now.
Guys, it's time. Guys, shut up
Fine,
now.
Craig. Fine.
I'm on a roll. Oh, and we forgot. What's our next episode, Gab?
is about the white ladies and the black ladies. And Kalai made me say that because it's like nighttime and she's a scaredy cat.
Yeah. I don't want to say it. And email your stories at creepyconvos at gmail.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and why am I about to say Instagram again? This is like
we don't have
Tumblr.
Instagram.
There you go. Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr at Creepy Convos.
And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe and review on iTunes.
Thanks for creeping, you fucking creeper.
And remember, the government is always watching you. Bye.